Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment, speakers, DACs, amps, turntables, receivers should cost more than a fancy reclining chair and a matching ottoman that one of my friends purchased, the replica edition. And these don't. What are they? They're the KLH Albany 2. There's also an Albany 1 as well as the KLH Albany 2. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the KLH Albany 2s. Today's sponsor is the Toblerone 1000 veneer application device by Alchemy Audio. I know it looks like a iron that you use to iron clothes, get the wrinkles out, but it's not. It's a veneer application device, and that's why it costs $150, because it heats up just perfectly to melt the glue underneath the veneer to adhere to the speaker. Alchemy DIY Audio. They've been around for a long time, and all the products you get there are really, really good, and they're not like any regular household items. KLH Albany 2. They're a two-way bookshelf speaker. They're both rear ported. There's also an Albany 1. These are $300, $299. The Albany 1 is like $479. Albany 1, not rear ported, not ported at all. Albany 2, ported. These have a 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter and a 5 1/4 inch Kevlar woven. Oh, I almost did it. Woven fiber. I almost said woven again. 5 1/4 inch woven fiber woofer. These come in English walnut as opposed to American walnut or Spanish walnut or Yugoslavian walnut. English walnut, because apparently it's really good over in England. Or black oak. Okay? It's just black oak. It's not like Mexican black oak or Japanese black oak. It's just black oak. So we have English walnut, which makes a whole bunch of sense, and then black oak. The KLH Albany 2 have a reported frequency response of 35 up to 23,000 hertz. We'll talk about that 35 in the bass section. They're 92 dB efficient, 8 ohm nominal impedance. I found these speakers very easy to drive. I mostly listen to them through my Anthem integrated 225 with the Denafreps Aries 2 feeding them, as well as the Shit Bifrost 2 feeding them. I also tried them on the SMSL DA9 and the By Your Range MT34 Mark II tube amp. Soundstage and imaging is quite good for a speaker of this size. Alice in Chains MTV Unplugged was wide. Not necessarily as deep as some speakers, but for this size of speaker, there was some space. Wherever I May Roam by Metallica, at the 14-second point came way right. Overall, soundstage and imaging is very good. I had these towed in directly at me, and then I towed them a bit out. We'll get to that in treble, but the center image was very apparent, locked on. I didn't have to talk these speakers into imaging well. For their size, very impressed with soundstage and imaging. Let's talk about bass. Bass. 35 hertz. In no universe on this planet or alternate universe that exists in a separate timeline that's going on right now does this speaker hit 35 hertz or anything remotely close to it. I think it's a typo, but I've gone to multiple websites and it still says 35 hertz. No way is it 30. It's not 55 hertz, okay? The bass is fine. It's tight. It sounds good, but it does not extend to 35 hertz. Not even like negative 18 dB. I cannot, for the life of me, I have no idea why it says 35 hertz. Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys. If you're hitting 35 hertz, you should get a real good impression of how low that song goes. And guess what? You don't, because these don't hit anywhere close to 35 hertz. I'm sorry. The bass is fine, but that's got to be a mistake. It has to be. The bookshelf speakers that like hit like 37 are huge with like 7-inch woofers and big enclosures. This is the size of a shoebox. Unless they're breaking the laws of physics over at KLH, then there's zero chance. Okay, I'm gonna get off the 35 hertz. Okay, let's just assume that's wrong. Okay, let's say it's 55 hertz, and really that's probably pushing it as well. It doesn't matter though. The bass is rolled off really. If you're going to use this in anything other than, even in an office, I would suggest getting a subwoofer to fill these out, because this speaker reminds me a lot of the KEF LS50 as far as bass. Don't get me wrong, I like this speaker. There's just not any bass presence here. It's very, very, very rolled off, and not rolled off as in like, oh, it has a really smooth roll off. I'm just saying it's not apparent. There's not a lot of bass there, okay? And if you'd have told me that this was a sealed enclosure when I listened to it, I'd be like, okay, yeah, it sounds like a sealed enclosure. This is a ported, and it still sounds like a sealed enclosure, okay? With all that said, the bass is fine. The texture and tone is pretty good. Miles Davis, so what? Everything sounded like it should sound. Quite frankly, there is some bass clarity and some good tone going on in these speakers, but they're not a lot of bass presence. Got all excited about that. Let's talk about mid-range. Because there isn't a huge amount of bass going on here, the mids can sound a bit thin. Now, it just walks the line of like, there's not enough lower mids there. The male vocals aren't super filled out, but it's just enough filled out to not feel like anemic. Mid-range is quite good on these. I wouldn't say that this is a mid-forward speaker, although in the upper mids, it walks the line of being almost bright. Mid-range here, female vocals sound fantastic. Male vocals sound fantastic, if just almost a bit thin. Alice in Chains, MTV Unplugged. Didn't sound overtly thin, but didn't sound real body, like a whole bunch of body. It's fine. It's passable. It makes up for the lack of body with the detail and the texture and the clarity. Voices are very good. The Redemption Song by Bob Marley, fantastic. Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Reason, fantastic. Very detailed, very good, very realistic, but it's almost too detailed to be, it lacks a bit of body to really feel realistic. Let's talk about treble. I'd say the standout on this speaker is the upper half of the mids and the treble. Treble is very detailed, without seeming icy or in your face. Cymbal hits are very tactile, very realistic sounding. The decay is pretty good. Harvester of Sorrow, Metallica, very good. There's enough detail and snap with percussion that this speaker sounds very enjoyable. I pushed these pretty hard as far as volume goes to see if they would put me into fatigue. They never did. So I'm very happy about this. Actually, the old president of KLH bought the rights to KLH. So this does give me kind of a KLH vibe. I like these speakers better than I like KLH though. I don't feel like they're too forward or fatiguing. They are lively. They are almost like a better KLH. So I do like these speakers. What are my final thoughts? Final thoughts are at $300, $299. Very good speaker, okay? But there's some competition out there. There's the Dolly Spectre 2s at $350 and the Q Acoustics 3020Is, both of which are very good speakers. I think these are probably the liveliest of the bunch and also probably the thinnest on the bass, even though they're spec'd out at 35 hertz. This speaker reminds me a lot of the KEF LS50, but I like it because it's $300 and not $1,300, okay? So if you get this, go buy a sub for $100 or $200 and you're gonna be fine. This is a very good speaker. it lacks a bit on the bass, and I'm picking on it even more when it says it's rated down to 35 hertz. Okay, I cannot get over it. This is a great speaker if you have a sub. You can get it pretty close to the wall, and it's not going to get boomy or thick or whatever, because there's just not a ton of bass there. It fills it out. Now, I'm picking on the bass here, but I did run these for quite a while without a sub. And after an initial kind of getting used to the sound period, there was bass there, okay? But there's not a lot of it. Do I recommend this speaker? Yeah, I do. Bear in mind, though, you're probably going to want to get a subwoofer with it. I think there's enough redeeming factors with the mid-range and the treble. This is a very, very, very good speaker. However, again, a lot of competition. Even the JBL Stage A130s that go on sale for $180 have more bass. The mids might not be quite as refined as on the KLH, but there's stuff out there. Even the Sony SSCS5s are going to, probably not beat these, but they're not going to be embarrassed by them either. Overall, good speaker. Probably need a subwoofer though, okay? If you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have patron-only Zooms. You can also sign up for Amazon Music. There's a link in the description. Click on the link, sign up. I think you get 4 months, 3 or 4 months for free now if you give it a try. All the music is CD quality or better. You can also use my links to purchase the KLH Albany 2 or really anything else in there. Now, we as in the Cheap Audio Man, and CSS Audio is going to be doing a raffle. They're giving away a set of Crichtons, the 1TD, maybe the 1TD. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I will put a link in the description. That link is going to go to Homes for Our Troops. It's the charity that Cheap Audio Man, me, contributes to, okay? It's for disabled veterans that have been disabled in the line of duty, and this charity goes in and either helps retrofit their house or sometimes builds them an entire new house to help them out with what happened. So if you're interested in contributing, all the details will be on the link, okay? It's a great outfit. I'm going to be giving away some stuff. I know CSS Audio is giving away some stuff. Some of my patrons are giving away stuff. So all the details will be there. Great cause, great charity. So if you're interested in helping out Homes for Our Troops, and maybe you'll win a set of speakers or maybe some amps or whatever it is, sign up. So don't binge watch anything. Binge listen through your new KLH Albany 2s, but you're probably going to need a sub, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.